All right, part two. Here we go. We're talking now about, a what-if scenario. What if you're on a mission team, there's no elders around, but there's an evangelist. Don't you have to be obedient to the evangelist kind of situation? So the next scripture that I want to share is 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 5. And it says, but you, this is actually Apostle Paul writing to Timothy. So this is Paul saying to Timothy, but you, Timothy, keep your head in all situations, endure hardship, do the work of an evangelist, discharge all the duties of your ministry. So here we go. From this scripture, we can see that Timothy is an evangelist, right? And then an evangelist discharges duties of the ministry. I looked up the word discharge. Another word for discharge is to fulfill. Fulfill all the duties of the ministry. So exactly whose duties is the evangelist supposed to fulfill then, right? Play it by ear, what's at hand, that situation. Well, not really, because just earlier, just a little bit before this scripture, in verses 2, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2, Paul talks about the duties that an evangelist is supposed to fulfill, discharge. Let me get there. Give me a second here. Let me turn to there. Four two. It says, preach the word. Be prepared in season and out of season. Correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instructions. Basically, the Apostle Paul is telling them the duties that he's supposed to fulfill. Even here we see that an evangelist works with somebody. In this situation, it was an apostle, but we don't have any apostles anymore. So we could say that an evangelist is supposed to work with the elders. Kind of like when Peter, he was an apostle, but also an elder. So, if this was Peter, we could say that, it'd be an elder. But what I'm trying to say here is that even the order of things, the way it's supposed to be designed, we're starting to see, according to these scriptures, like the breakdown of the church. Like we have Jesus, then we have a group of elders that oversee everything, all the affairs of the church, and it's a group of them. Then we have an evangelist that reports to the elders, or apostles, but we don't have apostles anymore. So if you're on the mission team, let's say, and you have an evangelist that's leading your group, you have to make sure, as a disciple, as a Christian, you keep your evangelist accountable and be like, hey, bro, where are you getting your list of duties from? Are you communicating with the elders? Is this what the elders want us to do? Because that's, according to the Bible, that's the structure of the church. And if they're communicating, and let's say, I'm in Portland, let's say from Portland we send a mission team out somewhere to Phoenix or LA or whatever, and we send mission team leader, evangelist, come on, evangelist, we send them out, or I guess the elders here make that decision to send a group out. And then that group communicates with the elders here. The guy leading the team communicates with the elders. Hey, we got this issue. This is what's going on. What do we do next? There's continuous overseeing of the group. So we have to keep that in mind. Until they have their own elders, which is what Paul wants to do. It's unfinished business if there's a church out there without an elder, because it's supposed to be able to kind of oversee and manage itself, while at the same time communicate with the other elders. It's supposed to. We'll be able to see this a little bit better as we follow through some other scriptures. But so from that scripture, what do we get? We see that Timothy's an evangelist. Evangelists are to discharge duties of the ministry, but there's definitely someone over an evangelist, which is the elders. And the evangelist is supposed to fulfill those duties. So I think I beat that one to death. Okay, let's move on to the next scripture. Next scripture is in Acts 15:2. Acts 15, verse 2. And in Acts 15, verse 2, it says, "This brought Paul and Barnabas into sharp dispute and debate with them." So Paul and Barnabas were appointed, along with some other believers, to go up to Jerusalem to see the apostles and the elders about this question. So apparently there was a major dispute to where even Paul, as an apostle, couldn't pull out his "I'm apostle" card. I'm an apostle and this is what we're going to do. Couldn't do that. Even an apostle had to go and talk to the other group, talk to the elders, and get advice. So one thing we see here is that even Paul went and got advice from the elders. So definitely there's some good examples right there of where the elders are, I guess, in the chain here. But also, it made me think. I was like, man, when things get heated up, when there's a big dispute, when there's a big issue at hand, we're supposed to just cut through the red tape and just go past everybody directly to the elders and be like, all right, what do we do? You guys need to make some kind of decision on this one. And because we need this resolved, so we can move on. So, going back to, actually I got a question. Have you ever had a situation like that? Have you ever faced a situation where something crazy is going down and you don't know what to do, and you need to get advice? Did you go and talk to the elders? Or did you get advice from everybody but the elders? So, that's one good lesson to learn. It helped me. I was like, alright, okay, yeah. I need to put my faith in the elders. That's where it's at. According to how the church functions, I need to put my faith in the elders. And then, so I was like, wow, that is a lot of faith in the elders. So you might ask me, hey, how come you're putting all this faith into the elders? What makes them so special? They can mess up like anybody else, right? Well, not really. Maybe. But let's look at another scripture I want to share. That was going to answer that question. But that's going to have to be in the next part 3 here. So, hang on for a second. Let's jump to part 3.